Silence is not weakness, it is strength dressed in stillness. When you choose not to share every detail of your struggle, you are not hiding from the world. You are building something sacred inside of you that only grows stronger in private. There is power in mystery. There is weight in what is unspoken. When every thought, every dream, every wound is poured out too soon, it loses its depth, its edge, its fire. But when you hold it close, when you let it burn inside of you without needing approval, it transforms into unshakable energy. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. Not everyone has earned the right to walk into the deepest parts of your story. Some people only listen to compare. Others only listen to criticize. A few will pretend to care but secretly hope you fail. And when you give them pieces of yourself too easily, they use them as weapons against you. Protect your story the way you would protect your heartbeat, because once you give it away to the wrong ears, you can't take it back. Your story is sacred because it is still being written. Sharing it too soon is like showing someone a painting that is only half finished. They can't see the vision you hold. They can't imagine the colors that have yet to appear. They will judge it incomplete. And if you let their opinions shape your confidence, you may abandon the masterpiece before it is done. Guarding your story is not about hiding. It is about giving it the space to grow without interference. Every storm you survive, every night you endure, every mountain you climb, carves something unshakable inside of you. That strength is not for display. It is for your evolution. You do not need the world to validate the battles you fight. The scars you carry are not decorations for their approval. They are reminders of the battles you conquered, and sometimes the greatest. Courage is to rise without announcing it, to heal without broadcasting it, to win without asking for applause. When you keep parts of your journey to yourself, you learn who you are without the noise of other voices. You learn to trust your own vision. You learn to move from a place of clarity instead of confusion, and that clarity becomes your anchor. It is what allows you to stand firm when the world tries to shake you. People will always have opinions, but their opinions cannot feed your soul. Their approval cannot heal your wounds. Their recognition cannot replace the inner strength you are building in silence. What heals you is the work you do in private. What strengthens you is the discipline no one else sees. What transforms you is the quiet decision to keep going when no one is watching. So let your silence be your shield. Let your actions speak for you. Let your growth reveal itself only when it has ripened into something undeniable. Because the truth is, you don't need to tell everyone your story. When the time is right, your story will speak for itself, and its power will be far greater than any words you could have shared along the way. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to move further faster, while others stay stuck repeating the same cycles? It is rarely because of talent. It is rarely because of luck. More often, it is because one person chose silence when the other chose to speak too soon. What you reveal and what you protect can determine the direction of your entire future. Every one of us carries a story. Some chapters are beautiful, filled with moments of triumph and joy. Others are darker, marked by struggle, betrayal, and pain. You might feel the urge to share these chapters with anyone who will listen because part of you hopes they will understand, accept, or even validate you. But the truth is, telling your story too freely can drain its power before it even has a chance to transform you. Not everyone who listens wants the best for you. Not everyone who nods in agreement carries love in their heart. Some are only there to collect your secrets, to twist your words, or to measure your worth by their limited view of the world. The deepest strength often comes from what you hold back, not what you release. When you keep certain struggles private, they become fuel. They grow within you, shaping resilience, sharpening focus, and building a quiet determination that cannot be broken by outside voices. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is where your power gathers. Think about it. Every time you speak your dreams out loud to someone who does not understand, you give them the chance to shrink your vision with doubt. Every time you reveal your pain to someone who does not care, you give them the chance to use it against you. But when you hold it close, when you choose carefully who earns the right to hear your truth, you protect the sacred energy that drives your growth. This does not mean hiding who you are. It means respecting the journey you are on. Your story is not meant for everyone. It is meant for the ones who will honor it, nurture it, and remind you of your strength when you forget. Until then, your silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is protection. It is the decision to let your actions, your progress, and your transformation speak louder than words ever could. Stay with this message. because the power of guarding your story will change the way you move through life. It will give you clarity, focus, and the ability to rise above the noise of opinions that do not matter. If you have ever felt overlooked, misunderstood, or betrayed for trusting the wrong people, what you are about to hear will give you back control. It will remind you that your story belongs to you alone, and that the greatest reward comes when you stop telling everyone and start showing through the life you build. By the end of this, you will understand why keeping parts of your journey private is not only wise, but necessary for your growth. You will feel the weight of your story transform into strength. You will see how silence becomes a weapon, how restraint becomes power, and how protecting your truth will lead you to a life of deeper freedom, courage, and success. Stay, because the shift you are about to experience could change everything. There is a reason the most powerful people in the world are often the quietest about their personal lives. They understand that the more you give away, the more you invite others to control the narrative of your journey. Words can be twisted, intentions can be misread, and dreams can be poisoned by the wrong voices. Protecting your story is not about building walls around your heart. It is about guarding the energy that fuels your growth. Every detail you reveal is a seed planted in the wrong soil, and it will wither before it even has a chance to sprout. When you feel the urge to share everything, pause and ask yourself why. Is it because you need validation? Is it because you fear being unseen? Or is it because you want someone else to carry the weight of your pain for you? The truth is, no one can carry it for you. No one can live your healing. No one can fight your battles. And when you hand over pieces of your story too easily, you strip yourself of the strength that comes from carrying it yourself. It is in the carrying that you build resilience. It is in the silence that you discover your own voice. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you. Some people are only meant to watch from a distance. Others are meant to leave after teaching you what you needed to learn. And when you tell your story to those who are not meant to stay, you allow temporary people to influence permanent parts of your soul. The greatest danger is not that they walk away. It is that their opinions echo inside of you long after they are gone. Protecting your story is protecting yourself from that unnecessary noise. Think about how many times you have felt discouraged because someone doubted you. Think about how many times you second-guessed yourself because someone could not see your vision. What would have happened if you had kept moving in silence instead of handing them your blueprint? You would have built stronger. You would have moved faster. You would have trusted yourself more deeply. That is the power of restraint. It allows you to walk forward with clarity, unshaken by the disbelief of others. Your silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. Every great transformation begins quietly beneath the surface where no one is watching. The roots of a tree grow strongest underground where no eye can see. When they finally break through the soil, they are ready to rise high because their foundation has already been made unshakable. That is what happens when you choose not to tell everyone your story. You allow your roots to grow deep, strong, and untouchable by outside judgment. And when the time comes to reveal your journey, it will not be through words. It will be through the undeniable evidence of your growth. People will see the transformation in the way you carry yourself, in the results you produce, in the strength that radiates without explanation. You won't need to convince anyone of who you are becoming. Your life will do the speaking for you. This is why holding back is not weakness, but wisdom. It is not fear, but foresight. You are not hiding, you are protecting. You are not withholding, you are preparing. And when you rise, you will rise with a power that cannot be questioned, because it was not built on the fragile opinions of others, but on the solid foundation of your own silent strength. The more you learn to protect your story, the more you reclaim control over your destiny. Every unspoken word becomes a reservoir of strength. Every moment of silence becomes an act of discipline. And discipline is the foundation of freedom. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, you begin to walk with a quiet authority that others cannot ignore. You are no longer chasing understanding, you are creating it within yourself. People often confuse attention with validation. They think if others know their struggles, their pain will feel lighter. But attention does not heal. It distracts. It tempts you into believing that being seen is the same as being understood. But the truth is, most people will never truly understand the battles you fight. They don't carry your scars. They don't feel your sleepless nights. They don't know the weight you've carried in silence. And because they don't understand, they cannot give you the healing you're searching for. That healing comes from the work you do when no one is watching. It comes from facing yourself without needing anyone else to applaud. Silence sharpens your focus. It forces you to listen to your own voice instead of drowning in the noise of other people's opinions. In silence, you learn to trust your instincts. You learn to follow the pull of your vision without needing permission. You stop wasting energy on convincing others and instead invest it in creating results. And results speak louder than any explanation ever could. When you no longer tell everyone your story, something changes inside of you. You stop giving away your power. You stop handing over your fire to people who don't know how to handle it. You stop seeking approval and start owning your path. That shift is life-changing because it places the responsibility for your growth back where it belongs, in your hands. And with responsibility comes freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of who believes in you or who doesn't. You believe in yourself, and that is enough. There is an undeniable strength that radiates from those who move in silence. They do not need to announce their next step, yet their presence commands respect. They do not need to broadcast their battles, yet their resilience is obvious. They are not louder than the world, they are stronger than it. That strength is built in the moments when they chose to guard their story, to let the world see only what was ready to be seen. You are capable of becoming that person. You are capable of cultivating a power so strong it does not require explanation. But to do that, you must resist the urge to hand your story to people who have not earned it. You must let your silence work for you, not against you. You must trust that your growth does not need to be seen to be real. One day, the results of your persistence will be undeniable. One day, the life you build will speak louder than any words you could have shared. And when that moment comes, you will realize the wisdom of keeping your story sacred. You will see that silence was never empty. It was the ground where your strength was planted. And now that strength will rise unshakable, unstoppable, and untouchable. There is a quiet power in restraint, a force that grows stronger every time you choose to keep your journey close to your chest. The world has trained us to believe that constant sharing is connection, that oversharing is authenticity, but true authenticity is not about exposing everything. It is about aligning your actions with your values even when no one else sees. What you protect shapes what you become. The dreams you hold in silence develop sharper edges. The battles you fight without witnesses create deeper roots of strength. What you build away from the spotlight becomes unshakable when the spotlight finally finds you. Every life has chapters that cannot be rushed into the open. Some truths are too fragile to hand over to careless hands. Some visions are too raw to be placed in the mouths of people who do not understand their weight. When you keep your story guarded, you give it space to mature. You give your healing time to settle, your vision time to expand, your confidence time to rise without interruption. There is no shame in silence. There is wisdom in knowing that the strongest voices are born in the quietest rooms. Think about the way seeds grow. They are planted in the dark, buried beneath the surface, unseen by anyone. They do not beg for validation. They do not announce their progress. They break open in silence, and their transformation is hidden until the moment their strength is ready to break through the soil. That is the natural law of growth. And so it is with you. When you protect your story, you are not withholding, you are preparing for the right moment to rise. The world does not need every detail of your struggle to be inspired. It needs the undeniable proof of your perseverance. It needs the evidence of your resilience written in the life you live, not in the explanations you give. The people who truly matter will not demand your story before it is ready. They will recognize your strength in your presence, in your persistence, and in your results. You do not owe anyone your unfiltered journey. You owe yourself the dignity of keeping sacred what is still in process. Guarding your story is an act of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, I am valuable enough to decide who gets access to my soul. It is refusing to let temporary people leave permanent marks on your path. It is choosing not to let careless words weaken what you are building in silence. And that choice rewires your mind. It trains you to find confidence within instead of searching for it outside. It teaches you to measure your worth, not by how many people hear your story, but by how faithfully you live it. The most powerful transformations are rarely announced. They are revealed. They are seen when the person who once bent under the weight of pain now stands unshaken. They are felt when the one who once needed validation now walks with certainty. They are undeniable because they are rooted in silence that turned into strength. Your story does not need to be broadcast to be real. It does not need an audience to hold meaning. Its power lies in the fact that it is yours, written in your scars, carried in your persistence, and revealed only when you choose. Protect it, honor it, and trust that when the time is right, the world will see the strength you built in silence, and no one will be able to deny it. The strength you protect in silence becomes the foundation others cannot shake. When you no longer feel the urge to explain yourself, you rise into a different kind of freedom. You are no longer bound by the weight of opinions, no longer distracted by the need to be understood, no longer weakened by the search for approval. You discover that the greatest validation comes not from being heard, but from being unshaken. It comes from knowing who you are when no one is clapping and no one is watching. Every time you resist the temptation to reveal your wounds to those who will not honor them, you are telling yourself that your healing matters more than their curiosity. Every time you choose to protect your vision instead of spilling it into unprepared hands, you are reminding yourself that your dreams deserve respect. And every time you keep your story safe, you are declaring that your life is not for public consumption. It is for your own transformation. That declaration is power. It is ownership. It is the moment you stop giving away pieces of yourself to people who cannot handle them. There's a deep psychology to silence. When you speak less, you begin to notice more. You hear the tone behind people's words. You see the intention behind their questions. You sense the energy behind their presence. Silence sharpens perception. And with sharper perception, you begin to discern who is safe with your story and who is not. You begin to separate those who deserve access to your truth from those who only want to use it. This awareness saves you from cycles of disappointment, betrayal, and regret. You are not meant to live your life constantly explaining yourself. You are meant to live it boldly, fully, and unapologetically. The details of your journey are not a performance for others. They are the soil of your becoming. When you spend less energy telling and more energy building, your growth accelerates. When you stop pouring your emotions into careless ears, you redirect that power into your own healing. And when you refuse to be defined by how others perceive your story, you begin to define yourself by how faithfully you live it. It takes courage to stay quiet when your heart wants to be understood. It takes strength to walk alone when you long for recognition. But that silence is not empty. It is shaping you into someone unbreakable. The pain you carry in private becomes endurance. The doubts you fight alone become resilience. The victories you celebrate in the dark become unshakable confidence. This is the transformation that only silence can create. And then, when the time comes for your story to be revealed, it will not be through desperate explanations or endless justifications. It will be through the undeniable evidence of who you have become. People will see the strength in your eyes, the conviction in your steps, the discipline in your actions. They will know you have walked through storms without you saying a word. They will feel the weight of your silence because it will carry the proof of everything you endured and overcame. This is why your story does not need to be told to everyone. Its true power is not in the telling, it is in the living. And when you choose to live it fully, faithfully, and quietly, you create a strength that no one can deny, no matter how loudly the world tries to speak over you. The greatest breakthroughs in life often happen in silence, away from the noise, away from the opinions, away from the need to be seen. Transformation does not require an audience. It requires commitment, consistency, and courage. Every time you keep moving without announcing your next step, you strengthen your resolve. Every time you endure without seeking sympathy, you increase your endurance. Every time you succeed without needing applause, you step into a higher level of freedom. This is the kind of growth that cannot be taken from you because it was never built on anyone else's recognition in the first place. The temptation to tell your story comes from a longing to be understood. But you must realize that not everyone has the capacity to understand. Some will listen only to judge. Some will listen only to compare. Some will listen only to twist your truth into something that serves their own insecurities. And when you give them that access, you invite them into spaces they have no right to enter. Protecting your story is not about fear. It is about wisdom. It is knowing that your truth is too valuable to be placed in careless hands. Your silence becomes your shield. It keeps the wrong voices from shaping your path. It keeps doubt from sinking into your spirit. It keeps distractions from stealing your focus. And the longer you walk in that discipline, the stronger your inner voice becomes. You start to hear your own clarity more clearly than the noise of the world. You begin to trust your own instincts more than the empty validation of others. You realize that the power you were searching for outside was waiting for you in the silence all along. When you choose not to tell everyone your story, you create space for action to replace explanation. You stop convincing people of who you are and start becoming it. You stop defending your struggles and start conquering them. You stop seeking approval and start creating undeniable proof. And that proof is far more powerful than any words you could ever speak. No one can argue with evidence. No one can deny results. No one can dismiss transformation when it stands in front of them unshakable and complete. This is why restraint is strength. It is the ability to say, I don't need you to know my battles. I will let you see my victories. It is the decision to stop giving away your fire to those who cannot carry its heat. It is the discipline of recognizing that your story is sacred and that the timing of its revelation belongs to you alone. And when you walk with that mindset, you carry yourself differently. You move with confidence, not desperation. You speak with purpose, not with the need to be heard. You rise with power, not with the hope of being noticed. The truth is, your story is not meant to convince. It is meant to inspire. But inspiration does not come from overexposure. It comes from transformation that others can witness without you having to explain a thing. Live your story, guard it, honor it, and trust that when the time is right, its impact will be louder, deeper, and stronger than anything you could have forced with words. Every word you hold back is not lost. It is stored as strength. Every detail you protect becomes part of a deeper reservoir of power that fuels your growth from within. There is a kind of freedom in no longer needing to broadcast your every step. You release yourself from the chains of approval. You free yourself from the weight of misunderstanding. And you step into a space where your energy is no longer scattered outward but concentrated inward, driving you with greater focus and intensity. Most people underestimate the value of mystery. They believe being understood by everyone is the goal, but mystery creates gravity. It draws respect. It forces others to pay attention not to what you say, but to who you are becoming. When your progress is not constantly explained, it speaks with greater impact. When your story is not carelessly handed out, it carries more weight when finally revealed. Mystery protects your power until it is ready to stand undeniable. There is also a profound psychological shift that happens when you guard your story. Instead of living for reaction, you begin to live for results. You stop adjusting your choices to fit the expectations of others and you start aligning your life with your own truth. You build without permission. You heal without applause. You grow without commentary. And because you are no longer waiting for others to validate your process, your pace accelerates. You move forward faster, lighter, and stronger. Every great change begins with restraint. The strongest people are not the ones who shouted their struggles to the world, but the ones who turned their struggles into silent fuel. They let the weight of their challenges carve discipline into their spirit. They let the silence of their path refine their focus. They allowed the absence of outside validation to strengthen their self-belief. That is why when they finally rise, the world cannot ignore them. Their growth is too undeniable, their strength too real, their transformation too complete to be dismissed. And this is the reward waiting for you. When you learn to protect your story, you will not need to argue for your worth. You will not need to defend your dreams. You will not need to explain your scars. Your life will speak for itself, louder and clearer than any words could. Your presence will tell the story. Your discipline will tell the story. Your results will tell the story. And no one will be able to question it because it will be carved into reality. There is liberation in this way of living. You no longer feel drained by overexposure. You no longer feel betrayed by careless listeners. You no longer feel trapped by the need to be seen. Instead, you feel anchored. You feel in control. You feel the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their story is too valuable to be wasted on the wrong ears. That confidence becomes unshakable because it is built not on opinions, but on truth lived out daily. Protect your story not because it is fragile, but because it is powerful. Keep it guarded, not because you are afraid, but because you are wise. Trust that your silence is not empty. It is building something no one can take from you. And when the time is right, the life you have built will speak with a voice louder than words, a voice that demands respect, and a voice that proves beyond doubt that your silence was your greatest strength. The discipline of silence builds a different kind of confidence, one that does not need to be announced, one that does not beg for recognition, one that grows steady and unshakable inside of you. Every time you choose to keep your story sacred, you strengthen your ability to move with purpose instead of desperation. You begin to realize that what matters most is not how many people know your journey, but how deeply you are transformed by walking it. Transformation is not about proving yourself to others. It is about becoming undeniable to yourself. The truth is, the more you speak about your struggles before they are resolved, the more you weaken the energy required to overcome them. Talking releases tension, but it also drains momentum. What could have been power fueling your progress becomes scattered in the air as empty words. But when you hold it close, when you let your struggles stay private, that energy compresses. It builds. It pushes you forward with intensity. Your silence becomes a container that holds your strength until it explodes into results. This is why so many breakthroughs happen quietly. The people who change their lives in the most radical ways are not the ones constantly speaking about what they plan to do. They are the ones working while no one is looking, growing when no one is applauding, and building when no one believes. By the time the world notices, the transformation is already complete. That is the power of restraint. That is the reward of guarding your story. You must understand that your silence is not invisibility. It is strategy. It is the way you protect your mind from doubt, your heart from unnecessary pain, and your future from sabotage. Silence gives you the space to think clearly, to act with precision, to refine your vision without interference. It strips away distractions and forces you to rely on your own clarity. And when clarity becomes your compass, you move through life with strength others cannot comprehend. When you stop telling everyone your story, you also stop being chained to their reactions. You are no longer lifted by praise or crushed by doubt. You stand firm regardless of who supports you or who does not. That kind of freedom is rare, and it is powerful. It means your progress belongs fully to you. It means your victories are not dependent on approval. It means your failures are not defined by judgment. It means your life is no longer a performance, it is a mission. And that mission grows stronger every time you resist the urge to explain. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are not here to prove your pain. You are not here to defend your dreams. You are here to live them. You are here to rise in silence until the life you have built is so undeniable that it speaks for itself. That is the voice that cannot be silenced because it is written in reality, not in words. Guard your story like a treasure because that is exactly what it is. Protect it until it becomes proof. Let your silence refine you. Let your actions reveal you, and let your results declare what words never could. In the end, you will see that not telling everyone your story was not about hiding. It was about rising stronger, deeper, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. The more you learn to protect what is sacred inside you, the more unstoppable you become. There is a strength that comes only from choosing to remain silent while you are still building, while you are still healing, while you are still becoming. It is a strength born from patience, from trust, from the courage to hold your vision close without needing anyone else to validate it. Every time you resist the urge to explain yourself, you teach your mind that your own belief is enough. Every time you keep your struggles private, you remind your spirit that you do not need the world to carry what you were built to overcome. People will try to pull pieces of you. They will ask questions not because they care, but because curiosity feeds their insecurity. They will want access to your story, not to support you, but to measure themselves against you. And when you give them that access, you give them permission to plant seeds of doubt in soil that was meant to grow only strength. Protecting your story is protecting your growth from being poisoned. It is keeping the wrong voices from echoing in your mind. It is drawing a line that says, my journey belongs to me, and not everyone deserves to walk inside it. The world will not always understand your silence, but it does not need to. You do not need to be understood to be powerful. You do not need to be heard to be unstoppable. The greatest transformations are not built in front of audiences. They are built in the unseen hours, in the nights when no one is watching, in the mornings when no one is clapping, in the moments where only you and your discipline exist. That is where resilience is forged. That is where vision is sharpened. That is where power is born. When you stop telling everyone your story, you stop scattering your energy. You stop diluting your focus. You stop living for reaction. And you start living for truth. Truth does not need to be explained. It needs to be lived. It needs to be embodied. It needs to be carved into reality through action. Every step you take in silence is a declaration that you are done waiting for permission. You are done needing recognition. You are done handing your fire to those who cannot hold it. You are choosing to live your story instead of narrating it. That choice changes everything. It creates a momentum that cannot be stopped because it no longer depends on the shifting winds of opinion. It is anchored in something unshakable. It is grounded in the strength that comes from within. And when the results of your silence begin to show, the same people who question you will be the ones who cannot look away. Not because you told them, but because you showed them. Not because you explained, but because you became undeniable. Let your silence prepare you for that moment. Let it sharpen you, discipline you, and protect you. Do not waste your story on careless ears. Do not drain your power into spaces that do not honor it. Keep it guarded until it becomes proof, until it becomes presence, until it becomes the kind of strength that cannot be ignored. That is the gift of silence. That is the reward of restraint. And that is the path to a transformation so real it speaks for itself without a single word. When you stop handing your story to the world, you begin to realize how much of your strength was being wasted on explanations. You see how much of your energy was spent trying to prove something that never needed to be proven. You understand that the approval you once chased was an illusion, and that the only validation that matters is the one you give yourself when you refuse to quit. There is a freedom in this shift, a lightness that comes when you no longer carry the weight of other people's expectations on your shoulders. You move faster, you think clearer, you act bolder, because you no longer pause to justify the path you've chosen. Every unspoken word becomes an anchor of discipline. Every moment of silence becomes an act of power. And power grows in silence because it is no longer scattered. It is concentrated, focused, and directed toward what matters most. You do not waste it on those who cannot see your vision. You do not spill it into conversations that drain you. You do not trade it for sympathy that cannot save you. Instead, you use it to build, to rise, to push through every barrier that once stood in your way. The strongest version of you does not need applause. The strongest version of you does not need to be understood. The strongest version of you knows that true transformation is not performed. It is lived. And living it requires that you stay faithful to the process, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Because it is in those hidden hours, those private battles, those silent victories that the foundation of your greatness is laid. Every time you keep your struggles private, you prove to yourself that you are capable of carrying them. Every time you protect your dreams, you show yourself that they are worth more than careless words. Every time you choose silence over oversharing, you remind yourself that your journey is sacred. And when something is sacred, it is not given away cheaply. It is honored, respected, and guarded with wisdom. Do not confuse silence with weakness. Silence is strength refined. Silence is wisdom practiced. Silence is the mark of someone who no longer needs to shout because their life is already becoming the answer. The world cannot dismiss a life that speaks louder than words. The world cannot ignore results that prove what doubt once denied. The world cannot silence the undeniable presence of someone who rises in quiet strength. And that is who you are becoming. You are becoming someone whose story is no longer diluted by explanations. Someone whose growth is no longer slowed by opinions. Someone whose vision is no longer vulnerable to the disbelief of others. You are becoming someone who moves with quiet authority. Someone who carries the power of silence not as emptiness, but as presence. One day, your silence will reveal more than your words ever could. One day, the life you built in private will shine brighter than anything you could have described. And in that moment, you will understand that protecting your story was never about hiding. It was about rising into a strength that needed no introduction, no explanation, and no approval. It was about becoming undeniable. Greatness is never born in the noise of constant explanation. It is born in the silence of relentless work, in the patience of unseen effort, in the discipline of protecting what matters most. The world is quick to ask what you are doing, why you are doing it, and how far you've gone. But those questions are traps because they tempt you to speak before the work is ready, to expose what is still fragile, to hand over power before it has solidified within you. True strength is knowing when to hold back, when to keep your mouth closed and your hands busy. The more you hold back, the more you build yourself. You do not need to convince anyone of your future. You do not need to argue with doubt. You do not need to seek understanding from those who cannot see what you see. All you need is to continue to endure, to rise again and again when it would be easier to collapse. And every time you choose silence over explanation, you store energy for the fight that actually matters, the fight between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. It is in that fight that you discover who you truly are. You realize that the enemy is not the critic outside, but the hesitation within. The doubt inside you is louder than any voice around you. And the only way to silence it is through consistent action. That action requires energy. And that energy is wasted every time you give away your story too early. Hold it, protect it, let your silence feed your discipline until doubt has no room to breathe. There is a reason some people never break free from mediocrity. They spend more time talking about change than creating it. They announce plans they never follow. They seek applause for dreams they never pursue. Their energy is drained by conversations while their potential sits untouched. But you are not here to repeat that cycle. You are here to break it. You are here to rise above it. You are here to build in silence until there is nothing left to prove. The truth is, your results will speak louder than your explanations ever could. Your progress will silence questions. Your growth will erase doubt. Your transformation will make every moment of guarded silence worth it. People may wonder, people may doubt, people may even dismiss you. But when the results arrive, there is nothing left to argue. And when that day comes, you will not need to say a word. Your life itself will speak the truth you once protected. Do not underestimate the power of this choice. Every time you choose to keep building quietly, you harden your spirit. Every time you guard your vision, you strengthen your resolve. Every time you withhold your story, you sharpen your focus. And over time, this becomes unshakable. It becomes a force no distraction can weaken, no critic can destroy, no setback can break. That is what silence gives you. It gives you back yourself. It gives you the space to grow without interference. It gives you the power to walk forward without the burden of expectation. It gives you the freedom to succeed on your own terms, in your own time, without needing the permission of anyone else. And that freedom is the soil in which greatness grows. The quiet you protect is not emptiness, it is creation. It is the space where strength is forged, where vision becomes sharper, where discipline is refined. The world teaches you to rush, to announce, to prove, but real power has no need for spectacle. Real power grows in silence, gathering force, building momentum until the day it reveals itself so undeniably that no words are required. When you refuse to scatter your energy in explanations, you allow it to collect inside you, to form into something unbreakable. Every dream needs protection in its early stages, just as a seed needs soil before it can face the sun. Expose it too soon, and the harsh winds of doubt and criticism can destroy it before it has roots. Protect it, guard it, nurture it in silence, and one day it will be strong enough to rise above anything. This is why your silence matters. It is not weakness, it is strategy. It is the choice to guard what is still growing, to keep sacred what is still fragile, to let time and discipline do their work without the interference of careless words. Every time you resist the urge to explain yourself, you gain strength. Every time you swallow the need to prove yourself, you reclaim power. Every time you refuse to share your story with those who cannot carry it, you deepen your resilience. And resilience is a force that carries you through storms, through rejection, through every dark night where quitting feels easier than continuing. That resilience is not built in the spotlight. It is built in the shadows, in the silence, in the unseen hours when only you know the weight of your struggle. This is why silence is not absence. It is presence. It is being fully in the fight without distraction. It is pouring everything into your work without spilling a drop in the conversations that will not move you forward. It is focusing your energy like a laser, cutting through excuses, breaking through limitations, shattering every barrier that stands in your way. Silence gives you the clarity to keep going when everything else feels heavy. It gives you the strength to endure when doubt surrounds you. It gives you the wisdom to rise when failure tries to hold you down. And when the breakthrough comes, it comes with a force that no one can deny. The life you built in silence becomes impossible to ignore. The progress you created behind closed doors commands attention without demanding it. The strength you forged in private speaks louder than any words you could have spoken. And in that moment, you realize something powerful. You never needed to explain yourself. You never needed to prove anything. All you ever needed was to keep moving, keep building, keep believing, until the results made the noise for you. This is the reward of protecting your story. You step into a power that does not need validation. You carry a confidence that does not depend on approval. You embody a strength that was forged in silence, but shines louder than any declaration. And once you taste that freedom, once you live in that strength, you will never again waste yourself on explanations. You will understand that silence was never empty. It was the birthplace of everything you were meant to become. When you decide to guard your story, you reclaim a power few ever recognize. Most people hand over their struggles too freely, believing that being seen will ease their burden. But attention does not heal. Approval does not transform. Validation does not strengthen. What transforms you, what strengthens you, what turns you into someone unshakable is the work you do when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when the world is quiet and your mind is focused on nothing but becoming better than you were yesterday. Every moment of restraint is a declaration that you are in control. Every time you resist the urge to tell your story, you assert ownership over your journey. You tell yourself that your growth does not require anyone's understanding. Your healing does not require anyone's sympathy. Your success does not require anyone's acknowledgement. And the more you practice this, the stronger your inner voice becomes, guiding you with clarity, driving you with purpose, and anchoring you with confidence that cannot be shaken by external doubt. The world thrives on distraction. It wants you to speak before you are ready, to reveal before you are strong, to share before your vision is fully formed. It wants to siphon your energy, scatter your focus, and leave your potential vulnerable. Protecting your story is a form of resistance against that force. It is a conscious choice to channel your energy into creation rather than consumption. Every private struggle you endure, every silent effort you make, every unspoken victory accumulates into momentum that cannot be stopped. Strength is forged in the unseen hours. Confidence is carved in the quiet moments. Resilience grows when no one is watching, when every obstacle is met without external validation, and when every failure is faced with determination rather than explanation. By keeping your story private, you remove the distractions that weaken you. You eliminate the voices that misinterpret, misjudge, or manipulate. You create an environment where your energy is concentrated, where your focus is sharp, and where your potential has room to explode into reality. There's a profound psychological truth in this. What you guard becomes yours in a way nothing else can. When you stop sharing too soon, you stop relying on others to define your worth. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop letting doubt from the outside infiltrate your mind. When you stop giving away pieces of your journey to unearned ears, you reclaim your narrative entirely. And a life led with a fully reclaimed narrative is unstoppable because it is built on the only validation that matters, the validation that comes from within. Your story, your struggle, your growth, they are not prizes to be given away. They are the foundation of your power. Every moment you choose silence over exposure, patience over impulse, discretion over oversharing, you build a resilience that cannot be taught. You cultivate a discipline that cannot be borrowed. You create a momentum that cannot be interrupted. And eventually, the life that emerges from this guarded growth will be undeniable, unassailable, and entirely your own. Do not waste your energy on those who cannot handle your truth. Protect your story, honor your journey, and trust that the strength you build in silence will speak louder than any words ever could. That strength will carry you through doubt, criticism, and setbacks. That strength will open doors that explanations cannot. That strength will define you more powerfully than any audience ever could. Guard it, nurture it, and let it become the unshakable force that propels your life into the extraordinary. Every time you resist the urge to reveal your struggles, you are training your mind to be unshakable. Every time you choose silence over explanation, you are strengthening your focus. Every time you protect your story, you are building an inner fortress that cannot be breached by doubt, criticism, or distraction. This is the unseen work that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. While others seek validation, you cultivate power. While others speak, you act. While others expose their wounds to be healed externally, you heal internally, where the real transformation begins. The energy you guard in silence becomes your fuel. It grows sharper, denser, more precise with every withheld word, every unspoken truth, every private victory. That energy is not wasted. It accumulates, becoming an unstoppable force that propels you forward faster and stronger than anything you could have achieved while trying to convince others of your worth. The world does not create power, it reveals it. And the most potent power comes from restraint, from the choice to move deliberately, to act intentionally, and to protect your growth until it is undeniable. There is a clarity that comes when you stop explaining yourself. Suddenly, you see who truly supports you and who only distracts you. Suddenly, you understand which voices carry wisdom and which only sow doubt. Suddenly, you are no longer pulled in 1,000 directions by opinions that do not matter. This clarity is liberating because it allows you to focus entirely on your purpose, your vision, and your progress. You no longer seek approval, and in doing so, you finally step into the freedom to become unstoppable. Every great transformation requires private struggle. Every life that achieves the extraordinary was forged in silence, shaped in the unseen moments, and refined in solitude. Your battles are not meant for commentary. Your victories are not meant for applause. Your story is not meant for everyone. It is meant for those who will honor it, for those who will witness it responsibly, for those who are aligned with the energy you are creating. Until then, silence is your ally. Silence is your strategy. Silence is the unseen architect of your future power. You are not here to explain your journey to those who cannot comprehend it. You are here to walk it, to endure it, to rise through it. Every word you say strengthens you. Every moment of discretion sharpens your focus. Every private victory builds the momentum that will carry you past obstacles that others cannot imagine. That momentum is your true currency, far more valuable than any praise or attention you could receive in the present moment. When you finally step into the life you have been quietly building, it will speak for itself. No explanations will be necessary. No approval will be required. No one will be able to diminish the force of what you have created because it was forged in secrecy, tempered in discipline, and solidified in relentless action. That life will stand as proof that the most powerful transformations are not broadcast, they are lived. Protect your story with unwavering resolve. Honor your growth with sacred care. Trust that the power you cultivate in silence is stronger than any word you could ever speak. Let your actions, your results, and your presence become the voice of your journey. In the discipline of silence, you are building an unstoppable self, and that self will rise in a way that the world cannot ignore, deny, or diminish. Every secret you keep, every moment you resist oversharing, strengthens the foundation of who you are becoming. Silence is not absence, it is a tool for transformation. It is the mechanism by which you turn chaos into clarity, doubt into determination, and vulnerability into unshakable strength. The world will always ask for pieces of you, your thoughts, your struggles, your plans, but the power lies in knowing that you do not have to give them away. The energy you conserve, the focus you maintain, the strength you cultivate in private becomes unstoppable when released at the right moment. You are living in a society that glorifies exposure, that equates constant visibility with worth, that measures value by how much others witness your journey. But visibility without substance is fragile. Results built under the scrutiny of an audience are often diluted, distracted, and incomplete. True transformation, the kind that changes the trajectory of your life, grows in the hidden moments. It grows when no one is looking. It grows when you choose action over applause. It grows when every ounce of your energy is funneled into progress instead of explanation. Guarding your story is not isolation. It is self-mastery. It is saying to yourself that your growth, your resilience, and your dreams are too valuable to leave in the hands of those who may not understand. Each time you withhold details, you are making a conscious choice to invest in your own power rather than in the fleeting opinions of others. That choice trains your mind, strengthens your focus, and instills a confidence that cannot be shaken. You learn to move with purpose, to trust your instincts and to measure your progress by results rather than by recognition. There is a profound psychological truth in protecting your narrative. People rarely rise by sharing everything they feel or every step they take. They rise by persevering quietly, by enduring without needing validation, by working in ways that cannot be measured by applause. When you stop explaining, you stop asking for permission. When you stop justifying, you reclaim control. When you stop giving away your story, you become the author of your own destiny. Every action you take becomes deliberate. Every victory becomes undeniable. Every step forward becomes unstoppable. The energy that is saved through silence is not wasted. It is concentrated, refined, and amplified. It is transformed into resilience, persistence, and clarity. Each time you resist the urge to tell, you invest in a version of yourself that will one day be unstoppable. Each time you endure privately, you grow stronger than any audience could make you. Each time you choose your journey over the approval of others, you solidify the foundation of a life that cannot be shaken by doubt, criticism, or distraction. When the time comes for your story to be revealed, it will not require explanation. The life you have built will speak louder than words ever could. Your results, your presence, your unwavering strength will testify to the discipline, focus, and courage you cultivated in silence. And in that moment, you will realize that protecting your story was never about hiding. It was about rising stronger, deeper, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. Hold your story sacred, protect your energy, guard your journey. Your silence is not weakness, it is the crucible in which greatness is forged, and that greatness, once revealed, will command respect, inspire awe, and prove beyond any doubt that the most powerful transformations happen quietly, deliberately, and unapologetically. Every time you choose silence over explanation, you are making a decision that reverberates far beyond the moment. You are telling yourself that your growth is more important than approval, that your progress is more valuable than attention, and that your potential is too sacred to be squandered on those who cannot honor it. Each private choice compounds over time, creating a momentum that cannot be interrupted. Each unspoken struggle transforms into resilience. Each withheld detail becomes a reserve of energy that drives you forward with precision and purpose. The world will always demand pieces of your story. People will ask questions they do not have the capacity to understand. They will offer opinions they cannot truly grasp. They will judge without knowing, compare without context, and criticize without empathy. When you surrender your story to them, you are handing them power over your peace, your focus, and your energy. But when you choose silence, you reclaim that power. You control the narrative. You protect your growth. You ensure that your energy is spent building, not defending, not explaining, and not convincing. There is an undeniable force that emerges when a person stops seeking validation from the outside. Confidence deepens, clarity sharpens, determination solidifies. When you guard your story, you are no longer at the mercy of reactions, opinions, or misunderstanding. You are free to act decisively. You are free to focus relentlessly. You are free to cultivate a life that is unshakable because it is built on your discipline, your vision, and your inner strength, not on the fluctuating approval of others. Every struggle endured privately, every challenge met without applause, every moment of effort that goes unseen is a seed of power planted deep within you. That seed grows silently, nourished by discipline, resilience, and unwavering focus. And when it reaches fruition, it does not require explanation. It does not need validation.